I want to talk a little bit about how when you change and you heal internally, that frequency can affect everything around you and really change your experience of reality and the people in it. And I like to believe that everyone has free will and everyone does have a consciousness. I don't think that everyone else is just like an illusion for me to experience reality with. I do think that everyone else in the world has a consciousness and has free will, and I don't just control them with my own mind, if that makes sense. But at the same time, we can bend reality with our expectations, with our energy. It all somehow affects everything and everyone around us. And I go back and forth between believing that there's all these different timelines, like, you know, people who believe that there's infinite timelines and everything exists, and so there's a timeline where that person is every single different way. I don't know if I believe in that or not. Sometimes I do. I think I don't like to believe in that because I like to just believe that like everyone is real and has a consciousness, and my reality is like a little bit more solid and true. But really there is no truth. Truth is always changing. There is no objective reality. Like sometimes I just feel like I want to know the truth. Like, who is this person at their core? Who are they really? What do they really feel about me? What do they really think? And I'm just learning that reality is so fluid and malleable, and it's so hard to ever see the truth, and you can't, because it's always changing based on your observation of it. Like what you focus on becomes your reality, if that makes sense. To a certain extent. Like there's people in my life who will never say like they're proud of me and rarely compliment me, but then they'll tell me that they say that to other people and that they actually are proud of me. And so I feel like that was a reflection of me not like thinking highly of myself and feeling worthy of praise and validation. Those people became a reflection of that, even if they didn't necessarily feel that about me. But then also it's like how people choose to show up does matter, and it does show you who they are. And even if someone like thinks highly of you and is a loving, kind person, you deserve to be told that. You deserve to be treated that way. And you deserve to have someone in your life whose actions align with what they feel about you. And I think sometimes even when our confidence increases and our self-image changes and you do feel worthy of that treatment now, not everyone is gonna be a reflection of that, because they're still insecure and they're too insecure to praise you and feel inferior. And then at that point, that's when you need to like walk away and step into a new version of yourself and choose different people to associate with. But I've also had the experience of people really changing as I've raised my vibration. And I realized that I will bring out different versions of people. We all bring out different aspects of each other. Like I have this one coworker who is verbally abusive to literally everyone except me. And I feel like for some reason, I just like don't bring out that version of her. I also had this other coworker that everyone hated, and I always just had a good experience with her. And I thought maybe I'm just more tolerant than everyone else. But what I learned is that she actually acted way different around me. And the things that she did to all my other coworkers, I was like shocked to hear about. And I was like, that's messed up. And I would dislike her if she did that to me, but she has never done anything close to that around me. And so I realized that I actually bring out a different side of people, and everyone brings out a different side of everyone. I think that when two people meet, it's like we each have our own vibrations, and it brings out different traits in each other so that we can learn lessons and grow and things like that. Like for example, a narcissist and a codependent are both at this vibration of insecurity, fear, and so they go together. They will be attracted to each other and they will trigger those wounds in each other. Whereas if someone with a really healthy amount of self-esteem, someone with a lot of self-love and empathy for themselves and for every aspect of everyone else, if they meet someone who's a narcissist, the narcissist is probably not going to feel that insecurity as much and be as triggered because they're around someone who's vibrating in this energy of unconditional love. Like if you can feel that someone's in this energy of unconditional love where they fully love themselves, and if you fully love yourself, you're gonna love everyone else. You're gonna have understanding for everyone else as well. And so if the narcissist can sense that, they're not going to feel as much that wound that they have something to prove and that they need to be a certain way and that they should be insecure about certain traits of theirs. One of my parents was always very verbally abusive, extremely critical, a perfectionist. And at a certain point in my life, I just decided that I'm done seeking their approval. It's never gonna happen. I give up. I don't care anymore what they think about me. And once I did that, I started getting their approval and they started being less verbally abusive. And it's funny because I was at a time in my life where I was unemployed, I was failing my classes, I was partying. Whereas when I was getting amazing grades and the perfect child, I didn't have their approval. I was constantly being verbally abused. And once I let go of seeking that and I just felt secure in myself, our relationship completely changed. Meanwhile, my sibling was having a completely different experience with this parent. And so I was thinking that my sibling is maybe just holding on to things from the past and just interpreting things differently based on their perception of reality and what they believe to be true, which might be partially playing a role in their experience. But what I realized is that my parent was actually showing up as a completely different version of themselves around my sibling, because they both were like vibrating at a different frequency that triggered these wounds in each other. I healed that wound of insecurity and seeking validation from them, and so it didn't trigger like the worst part of my parents' ego anymore. I didn't have the same lessons to learn with that parent anymore, and they didn't need to trigger me in that way anymore. They were bringing out certain sides of each other's ego so that they could work through that together because of where they were at. So every person that you meet and interact with, you're gonna bring out a different side of their ego depending on where you're at, what lessons you need to learn, what you're vibrating at, and they're gonna do the same for you. And I always notice how everyone does bring out a different side of me. I realize that I can actually like tell who someone is by how I feel around them, because I almost become so much like the people I'm around, which just means that that's a side of me that exists that I need to work through. Like, it's not just them. Like, there was a point in my life where I was like, I need to isolate myself from everyone because they're bringing out these like worst sides of me. But in reality, that's just a side of me that needs to be worked through and that I should face. And there's times in healing where we're supposed to isolate and be in hermit mode. But then there's times in healing where you have to face being in relationships, being with people, being around people in order to fully heal. But yeah, I just realized that my sibling and my parent were bringing out certain sides of each other, and that my sibling actually was having a completely different experience with my parent. And my parent was being a worse version of themselves around my sibling because they were triggering each other, because they made each other feel insecure. So that's just an example of how when you heal yourself, your interactions with other people are gonna be different. Because the more confident and secure I get in myself, the less people are mean to me, the less people are abusive to me, even people who are abusive to everyone else. There's also gonna be times where your security and confidence is a trigger to people and will still trigger their insecurity and their ego. I wonder if it's almost like a test in those cases of like, will you walk away and are you really confident and secure in yourself? I don't know, but I've definitely experienced both. So I'm not trying to say that everyone around you is gonna heal and treat you well if you are healed, and that if someone treats you badly, it's your fault. That's not necessarily the case. I'm never trying to say that anything is your fault. I'm just trying to say that you have more control over your life than you think. And I want to inspire you to create a happier life for yourself. But yeah, there's also times where people are going to be triggered by your confidence and still mistreat you due to that. And I think that at that point, then it's your responsibility to walk away and to choose better for yourself. But yeah, I think in those cases, it was like a test for me. Like, are you gonna tolerate this? Are you gonna keep this person around? And do you still feel deserving of this? And I grieved it and realized that no, I'm ready to like step into a new version of me because I feel deserving of so much better. Another thing that happened for me after I healed, which was something I never expected. A lot of times when I'm at work, I'm a server, I work in a restaurant, I'll see these families having fun together, being friends, having a good time, and I just think it's so beautiful, and I'm like, sadly, I'll never experience that. I can just have a family of my own and create that, but I would be the parent in that dynamic, and I'll never be the child in that dynamic. And that's just something that I accepted about my life and made peace with, and it didn't really hurt me anymore. But recently, I saw my cousins, who I haven't seen in like 10 years, and got together with my cousins, my aunt, my uncle, my mom, my grandparents, my sibling, And it felt like we had this like happy, healthy family dynamic. And it just felt so like fun and beautiful. And it felt like the feeling I always wanted of like having a happy, fun family, which is a feeling I just thought was impossible and that I would never ever get again. And so that was just like a really beautiful surprise that I truly feel like is a result of manifestation and me changing my vibration and all these things. Like I know you could just say, well, it would have happened anyway, but I really don't believe that because it felt like a reality that was just so impossible. But yeah, as I've healed, I feel like my parents have grown a lot too, which obviously everyone grows as they get older, but I feel like they've grown in a way that was really beyond what I thought was possible and definitely exceeded my expectations. And then also I just noticed that we all bring out different sides of each other. You trigger different parts of people's egos. And so as you heal, you're gonna trigger people in a different way, and it's probably going to create a more enjoyable life experience for you. It's also just something that I keep in mind now because I don't want to invalidate people's experiences with other people. Just because you have a good experience with someone doesn't mean that someone else is having a different experience with them and that they're showing up in a different way around that person, because we all really bring out different sides of each other depending on our vibration and the wounds that we need to work through personally. And so as you heal, you'll probably bring out better sides of everyone. There is no objective truth. There is not one reality. People are so complex and always changing, and your perception of reality also alters your experience of reality.